Hey everyone, it's Kellen Brower here from RacerX, back again with another race examination video from Fox Raceway 2. We're going to start off the video by taking a look at Justin Cooper's crash in the qualifying session, where he goes up this little step up, jumps up to the top, and Derek Drake's down on the inside. So Cooper gets on the front brake a little heavy, dives his nose into this deep inside rut, and goes down. So a lot of people were complaining about how deep it was in practice and qualifying. They watered the track a lot. They tilled it pretty deep, and they're trying to get that water to soak into the soil so it remains that way throughout the day. Some riders I talked to were not too thrilled about that, but obviously they needed to keep that water moist throughout the day, or else it's just going to turn into dry, hard-packed blue groove. So that is why this corner was so deep. But it all starts off with Derek Drake jumping up to the top of the hill, and he kind of lays it into the same hole that Cooper eventually crashes in, and it bounces him off the bike. So he crashes, stalls the bike, etc. Gets back up, and he's kicking away at getting the bike going when Justin Cooper then jumps up the hill. His nose dives in, and again, maybe just a little bit too focused on what Drake's doing ahead and a little too hard on the front brake, goes over the bars. He's actually stuck up here for a couple of minutes, but eventually got free and was able to go on and run the fastest lap in qualifying. Once the racing got underway a little bit later on the day, it was actually Michael Mosiman out front early on in 250 Moto 1. He led through the halfway point, but had Jett Lawrence closing up on him until Mosiman made this little mistake. He kind of chattered the rear and front of the bike down into this corner. He was trying to, I think, bank off the outside and miss some of the ruts, and eventually went down. He'd pick it back up in 5th place and charge forward, but we'll get to that in a moment. I did want to break down this crash a little bit to start with. Fox Raceway at the southern portion of this track has like kind of a deceptive loam to it a little bit, where when you're coming down the hill here, I think Mosiman feels like he can maybe bank off of some of these bumps and cut in, but it actually has like a looser topsoil than you expect, at least on this side of the track. The side where the hills are, it's a lot more like hard all the way through, like a hard base and hard on top, so you could kind of see where the slipperiness of the surface is. There, in that case, Mosiman, I think, was just trying to bank off the outside, had the rear end kick out on him, and then just slid it into the corner. But he did pick it up and continue on. Wanted to highlight these two quick passes because they're really nice how he put this together. Outside on Shimoda, turns to the inside into this next corner, gets around Voland as well. Mosiman's been coming on of late, and he said in the post-race press conference he feels like he can win Hangtown, and he wants to end this season with a huge one in what is essentially going to be his home race up there in NorCal. Let's talk about this 250 Race 2 gate malfunction that happened. As you're going to see, the guy inside the box smash down on the gate. It flinches a tiny bit. Jett Lawrence hits it, and then Voland hits it as well. A couple other people also hit it and blew through the gate, but then the guy puts his hands up, so they're going to go ahead and restart it. So you can see here, the guy inside the box here on the left, he is going to go ahead and smash down on the little gate pump on the inside here. Watch, you can see his head kind of like duck down right there, and then the gate just barely flinches a tiny bit, but you can see those guys all react to it really and go for it. So if you watch this at speed again, watch the gate, just a tiny flinch. Then Lawrence jumps into it. Like I said, a bunch of other people jumped into it. Heard from a couple people down on the start that there was some sort of power issue to the starting gate, so they weren't able to get the gate to drop. Not sure what happened, but they basically did one test, found out it worked, and then did it again with the actual start going. But how about this double shift down and then shift up into neutral for Amarine and Voland? Just seemed like some sort of video game moment, so I wanted to highlight that real quickly. But on the restart of the after the gate malfunction happened and 250 Moto 2 actually got away, Jett Lawrence ripped a huge hole shot out of the middle, which he has not done much at all this year. Finally got a good start, and kind of funny because as Cooper's starts have not really been coming to him of late, Jett Lawrence's confidence is up, and his starts have really come around, and he went on to go 1-1, and then I kind of wanted to highlight this after the race as well, so he gets a hug there, and then immediately goes, "I got a hole shot, F yeah," right away, and the whole team kind of laughs about it because, I mean, hey, his starts have come around, and they've been huge for him down the stretch here as he claws those points back on Cooper. I want to remind everybody that this video is presented by OnX Off-Road. Know where to go with the #1 off-road GPS app. Access 400,000 plus miles of trails and roads, open dates, and public lands. Download the OnX Off-Road app today. So in the 450 class, I want to go back to 450 Moto 1 here off the get-go and talk about Ken Roczen, who late in the moto got passed by Eli Tomac for 2nd place. He was trying to keep the championship alive to Hangtown, and it just wasn't working. The heat of Southern California was really getting to Kenny seemingly all day long, but in the first moto particularly. And if you're eating lunch right now, I would maybe advise skipping ahead to the time that I'm putting at the bottom of the screen here, because Ken Roczen went on to explain what exactly happened in this moment when he started cruising around in the second moto, and this is what he had to say. His weekend wasn't very good. good. He wasn't feeling quite right, and it was very noticeable. He felt weak yesterday, and with the weather, it was just a sufferfest from practice until racing. He tried late moto charge in the first moto and ended up throwing up. He has a history of feigning when he throws up, so he slowed down completely until it was all out, and then he pushed again on the last lap to secure third there. So that is what happened to Roczen. That is why he was actually fading at that particular time and was able to wake it up again. It looked a little bit maybe like he was dealing with heat exhaustion, but obviously just kind of threw it all up and then continued on. But back into the moment here, and this is Webb getting passed by Ken Roczen in the second 450 moto, and we know how good Roczen is on the first laps of the race, so this is why I wanted to highlight this, because this is pretty incredible to me. So Roczen, after going through everything that he went through, still gets the lead early on. Looks like he might pull away again. Ferrandis is wasting no time. He wants to get this title clinched. So first he passes Webb, then moments later he actually catches and passes Roczen as well. This is the first time maybe all year I feel like I can see, or I can remember seeing Roczen getting passed on the first lap of the race, and just goes to show how much Dylan really wanted to get this title clinched. He didn't even really need to beat Roczen in the second moto to clinch it, but he knew that getting in front of him was the best chance that he was going to have to clinch this thing early. So he did that. In the end, it didn't really matter because Eli Tomac went beast mode. He was incredible in this second moto. He charged from, I think, 5th or 6th to pass pretty much everybody and then get on Dylan Ferrandis a little bit before the halfway mark. Scrubs down past the finish line jump. Clearly, he was on it. Ferrandis, of course, he's probably in championship management mode a little bit here and knows Eli is not a factor in terms of clinching on this particular day. So it doesn't look like he puts up much of a fight here, and he just goes back into management mode. But Tomac was still running ridiculous laps at this stage, and at one point a little bit after this he actually ran a lap time that was 7 seconds faster than anybody else on the track. Eli Tomac riding incredibly, so he goes on to win the race and the overall. But Dylan Ferrandis picks up second place in the moto, wins the championship, and I always love looking at these championship celebrations because this is where the emotion pours out. First, a big hug from his wife Natasha. There's David Villeman on the right, his trainer, gets a big hug from his mechanic Alex Campbell right there. Jeremy Coker, the team manager, comes in, gives him a hug. Then Christian Craig comes in, gives him a hug. So just basically love all around from the team and the people around him. But this is awesome right here. Ken Roczen, who was exhausted all day and had to fight Dylan Ferrandis in this championship, comes up and shows the respect to Ferrandis that he deserves for winning this title. I love seeing that kind of camaraderie between these two guys that came from Europe chasing a dream. Roczen is already a 2-time champion of this series, and now Ferrandis has his first. Incredible scenes and incredible job by Ferrandis to win the championship.